Hey everybody, welcome back to Conscientious Omnivore. My name is Pal. Today is the day after Thanksgiving, and I've just been thinking that I wanted to share with you guys kind of all the stuff I've been grateful for the past year, and really just kind of let everybody know what's going on as well. I'll give you a bit of an update on what's going on with us, with my family and stuff. So the good news is that it looks like we're going to sell the house. So we got a deal lined up. The first one we had seems like it fell through. Then we got this next deal, and if all goes well, we'll probably have a contract to sign by next week. So I'm really excited about that. And as soon as that deal is done, things generally take 1 to 2 months to get all this stuff sorted out with the bank and deeds and everything like that, but fingers crossed, we should be looking to buy some property in the start of the new year. So I'm really grateful for that. That's like a huge thing, huge weight off my back. My wife and I have been struggling with the house and like the legal issues. Like I said, they didn't get settled for it was over a year and a half. And we've settled with the former owner this past summer, and then it's just taken us a while to basically decide what to do, and then also to get the house ready to list it and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, long story short, that's a massive thing to be selling the house and getting out of that. It's something that we've been struggling with for over 2 years, and it's just really kind of like a big thing for us. So that's like one thing that I'm massively happy for. And one of the most obvious things that I'm really happy for is being able to quit my job this year. It's like a pretty long thing coming for me, a long time coming. Something that I've wanted to do for quite some time is to start working for myself, and I finally feel like I'm getting there, that I'm getting to the point that I'll be able to focus on the things that I really want to do creatively. And I've got a lot of good ideas kind of stewing now. And I think one of the big things is that a few years back, I think it was probably maybe 3, 4, maybe even 5 years ago, I don't remember exactly when, I had set sort of a goal for myself. And it wasn't just a dream, because I actually did write it down too, but my goal was that I would be debt free by the time I was 40. And as it was, that was looking pretty impossible up until literally this summer, when my wife and I decided that I was going to quit my job and we were going to sell the house, and we were going to try to make do with whatever we had as far as equity goes, and to make our livelihood out of our own kind of fortune, and see what we can do. And long story short is that if this house sale goes through in the next few weeks, I'll still be 40 technically, and I will be debt free. So that's like a huge thing. I'm really excited about that. I'm very grateful for it. And depending on obviously what we do, like right now we're thinking about buying land and building our own house. That will be a huge adventure. I've never done anything like that. So if that happens, I'll be very grateful for that opportunity, because I think that's going to be a huge learning opportunity, and as well as it should be interesting for you guys. I think hopefully many of you would probably be interested in maybe the building process, and obviously my wife and I are going to try to do kind of an eco-friendly solution. We're looking at a bunch of different options. Some of the stuff that we watch a lot of, like these tiny home builds and videos and reviews and all this kind of stuff, and I'm also interested in kind of like the straw bale and the cob house and mud house and all these kinds of things, but I think my wife is a little less keen on those. But the container houses, there's a whole bunch of stuff. Maybe just building a traditional house kind of out of wood. Many different ideas, but let's see what else. So yeah, that's kind of like a big thing. And then kind of in conjunction with that, I'm just really grateful for being able to spend more time with my family and my kids. Today I had an awesome experience, like playing with my daughter, and she told me that it was funny because she changed the word order around, and she basically said that when she's going to be a pirate, she'll be kind of like a big person or a grown-up. I think she meant that when she grows up, she's going to be a pirate. But I just thought that was so cool. It was so awesome. She said she's going to look for her treasure and then bring it home. She's going to call a taxi and bring home the treasure. So I thought that was really cool. And yeah, I mean, yesterday we went climbing with my kids and my wife, and there's a new bouldering place here in Budapest, kind of closer to where we live than the other places we've been going. So that's pretty cool. We checked that out. I'll do a separate video about that. And yeah, it's just been really cool to be able to like go climbing with my kids and my wife again. Like, we haven't really climbed in, I don't know, we haven't climbed regularly in years, honestly. So it's been kind of a long time as well. And yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really grateful for my wife, and I think like our relationship, you know, has been, you know, getting stronger. I think in the past, you know, several months through the hardships that we've gone through with this house nonsense, and kind of the stress of like work and quitting my job and not really knowing what's going to happen. And there's quite a bit of financial pressure that was on us. So, you know, I'm just really grateful for her and to have her in my life, and that's really great. And yeah, I'm just grateful for my health, grateful to be alive and you know, be able to, you know, share my experiences with the people I love. And I'm grateful for you guys, everybody watching this. It's been a really great year for me. You know, I started the channel about a year ago. Let's see, I think it was in September, about a year ago, so a little over a year ago. And yeah, you know, started the channel. I had basically just like a couple friends and family signed up at first, and then, you know, now I'm well over 500 people signed up. Really, really grateful for that. So thank you to everybody, and happy to have everybody along for the ride. So yeah, what else am I grateful for? I'm really grateful for the garden and the gardening experience that we had this year. And you know, the Back to Eden method with the mulching worked like a charm. I mean, it was like unbelievable. I can't wait to, you know, do an even bigger and better garden wherever we do end up, and I'm really looking forward to that. And I was just grateful for all the food we were able to produce, and, you know, even without really having much time for it, honestly. So, you know, aside from a little bit of work that went in, you know, in the late winter and early spring to get the beds ready and do all the mulching, I mean, there was really little effort that went in, you know. And I just had the little seedlings going in the toilet paper tube rolls, and then we planted them out, and that was it. After that, it was just like the mulch took care of everything. So yeah, that was great. I was really grateful for that. And, you know, I just think, you know, I just can't believe like how much food we got out of such a small space. And I'm just like so excited about, you know, what the future holds if we can actually do that on a larger scale, and with even more you know, variety and more you know, food that we can prepare and show you guys. And yeah, so I think, you know, I had one of my really good friends, pretty much like my closest friend, one of my oldest friends, come visit. And you know, he was only here for like a week, but it was an awesome time to have. I was really grateful for that. And you know, I think even while he was here, it was just awesome. We worked on some stuff together, and it re-inspired me to start working on some electronic stuff, and that's been great. So I think I have some, you know, ideas that I want to actually pursue as like a business idea in the future. So yeah, just tons and tons of stuff to be grateful for. And I'm going to just end here very quickly. We'll just talk a little bit about you know, the year 2018 as far as like veganism goes and the environment. I think it's kind of like been a mixed year, you know. Like, there's been a lot of bad news that has come out. There's been a lot of scary kind of environmental reports that have been coming out, and I think there is a lot of stuff that you know, in the coming years, and I don't mean in the many years, I mean like in the next decade or so, that things really have to change. Otherwise, I think things are going to start getting more and more severe and more obvious to people that the environment is really, really hurting in a bad way. And if we don't start making some drastic changes to the way that people live on the planet, we're going to be in big trouble. So I think that's kind of a mixed message, because I'm actually grateful that there's more and more organizations coming out with more stern warnings and more serious messages for people. And I'm also really grateful that it seems like people in the general public are starting to believe these messages and act on them, and not wait for politicians to kind of save the world and save the day and make the changes. So people are really starting to embrace veganism, because of the environmental impact, because of the health impact, because of the ethical impact, and it is making a change. So I'm really grateful to see that, and I think I'm really happy to be doing a little part of that, hopefully helping people as well, and convincing people that it's something that's worthwhile to try and do. And I think that's pretty much it. I'm going to end here. I'll say good night, and I hope everybody had a good holiday if you did celebrate Thanksgiving. And I hope if you if you didn't even have a vegan Thanksgiving, maybe now's the time to kind of start thinking about that, and maybe you can do a vegan Christmas or something even sooner. Start considering things. And I'll end here. I'll show you guys a butternut squash that we cooked up today around lunchtime. It was from our garden at my mother-in-law's place, and that was an awesome blessing as well, that we got a bunch of free volunteer plants growing up from the compost. So you can't beat that, free food and tasty food at that. So I'll show it to you guys here, and see you in the next one. Bye. Okay, so this is the butternut squash that actually was one of the volunteer plants that grew out of my in-laws' flower garden this past summer. I showed you guys in videos how we ended up getting a bunch of volunteer plants from the compost that we used to amend the soil. We got a bunch of tomatoes and butternut squash. We even had a beautiful cantaloupe, and it was just really great to get all these free plants giving us free food all throughout the summer. This one, you can see that the stem broke off here when my mother-in-law was taking it down, and the reason why we did that is because we have been getting kind of freezing temperatures, or close to freezing temperatures, for the past week and a half or 2 weeks or whatever it was. And it never really yellowed, and I suspect actually some of it might be that maybe this didn't grow true to seed, so it might be some kind of cross-pollinated with some other thing, kind of combination butternut squash, who knows what kind it is. It's obviously not the kind of typical Canadian variety that you see here in Hungary, which has that kind of typical yellow, I don't know, whatever you would call that, cream-colored outside part. But it definitely feels pretty ripe. It's hard. My nails probably, I guess they left a little mark, but I'm going to be curious to see what this tastes like. My mother-in-law has already eaten a few, and she said that it was quite good. So I'm thinking this will be tasty as well. I'm going to roast up some potatoes and the butternut squash, and we'll see what it tastes like. I'll show you guys what it looks like once I've cut it open, and I'm looking forward to it. I think this is really cool that we got this for free, and I just love the idea of having the volunteer plants come out of the compost. So if anybody hasn't seen that video yet, check it out. I'll link it at the end. But yeah, let's get this cut open and get everything in the oven. So you can see what they look like now. Not quite as orange as a fully ripe typical butternut squash that I've seen, but they are nice, and pretty good coloring here. And I think the seeds were fully formed, so I would say it was fully matured, and it's probably a different color on the outside because of it not being true to seed, I would imagine. But seems like it'll be good. So I've just kind of cleaned up the potatoes and cut a few little sections, but for the most part I'm going to leave the skin on, and I'll just kind of arrange this here in the pans and get them going, and I'm going to cook them up in the oven. I think I set it to a little over 200 degrees Celsius, I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. I think it's near 375, 400, something like that. So anyway, I'll just put them in. I'm not even going to season these. I usually love eating the potatoes just the way they are, just regular baked potato. And we'll throw these in there and see how they come out. I'll show them to you next. So it's fully cooked now. I didn't actually look at the time, but the way you check is just take a fork or something and just make sure all the potatoes are done. The butternut squash pretty much always finishes before the potatoes, or probably right around the same time. So yeah, it's nice and soft. I just tasted it. It's ridiculously sweet, really, really good. You can see actually a bunch of the kind of liquid here in the back half of the butternut squash. That's normal. You don't need to do anything with that. The water will just get kind of reabsorbed back. It's usually a very sweet, kind of sugary liquid that just comes out from the squash naturally. So this one was all full of it as well, and then it just kind of went and seeped back in. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys. Obviously this is not like the whole meal. My wife made a soup, and we just ate a bunch of veggie soup, and then we're gonna just have this kind of as like a second course of the meal. But just wanted to show it that the butternut squash did in fact mature, and they do taste amazing. So you could do the same kind of stuff with this squash as I've shown you in previous videos. You can make pies out of it. You could make breads or other kind of like treats. I'm sure like the brownie that I showed you guys with the sweet potato, I'm pretty sure you could do the same thing with the butternut squash. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm fairly certain it would work, or maybe in combination with the sweet potato, because this is probably a little bit softer than the sweet potato. But yeah, go nuts. I mean, plant squashes, they're great. They last for a long time if you cut them off with the stem intact. These, this one was obviously kind of broken off by mistake, but in general, like butternut squash, when they're fully, matured, they will last for months, like in a nice cool basement type setting, or an unheated room. If you have like a porch or something like that, they can keep for a long, long time. And yeah, just want to encourage everybody, get out there, start planting your garden for next year. It's winter time. It's a good time to start like researching and trying to decide where are good spots in your yard, what kind of things that you can plant as companion plants, a whole bunch of stuff that you can start now and do some research and start growing some food. So hope everybody enjoyed this. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. See you guys next time. Bye.